Hey guys, welcome into Cooking Today. Thank you so much for being with us. We have a great guest with us on the show today. We have the Senior Director for Meat and Seafood at Sam's Club. This is Bob Fields. Bob has been with us before. How you doing, Bob?
Great.
It's good to see you, man.
Hey, nice having me back. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being here.
We're going to have some fun today.
You come with good stuff when you come, so I always like it when you show up, man. What you see in front of you guys is, this is called a primal. It's a ribeye. It's a whole ribeye. It hadn't been trimmed any at all. And Bob, we're just going to go through some stuff. We got grill season coming up. There's a lot of cool things going on in the future. And we wanted to show you guys just how you can cut your own steaks and save yourself a little bit of money at the store. Is that right, Bob?
Exactly. And we're right here into grill season. It was a tough decision what to bring down. So we've got some great ground beef products. We've got great chicken. But we decided to grill steaks out today.
I love it.
We can save a lot of money for the member right here.
Listen, and it's man time too. We consider cooking today a man's show, and so yeah, it's nice to have big cut of meat sitting here on the deck. So I want to get started and show you guys just how easy it is. And Bob, will you tell everybody about the beef that you guys sell at Sam's Club while I start cutting steaks?
Exactly. What we sell at Sam's Club, we carry Angus beef, and it's actually produced specifically to our specifications. There's different grades of beef. There's a prime, there's a choice, and there's a select.
Correct.
We're only buying the upper choice, which is the cream of that grade of beef, and then we also carry prime. And it's Angus beef, which tends to have better flavor to it. It has more tenderness, and we're trying to drive negative eating experiences, out of the consumer. You definitely don't want a tough steak, but chef with Sam's Club, if that happens, if it does happen, you have a tough steak, we've got a 200% guarantee. So you come back to the club, and we're going to double your money back and make sure you're happy. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a ribeye, and I'm cutting the ribeye here. And a good trick with this is to make sure you have a good long chef's knife. And I'm not really using a good fillet knife, but this one works great. Bob, grab that package of ribeyes that you brought with you, and we wanted to show you guys just in a comparison, okay? This ribeye was cut in the club and wrapped, correct?
Correct.
Cut in the club and wrapped. So they pretty much did the same thing. And it's a little bit more expensive than you buying the whole one and cutting it yourself. And we have some Ziploc bags that are available at the club. And I like to cut my steaks, bag it up. That way when my family decides that they want to have a steak, we can pull out what we need and still have plenty left over. And so you can make them as thin or as thick as you want to. The key is to make a good steak, and it really doesn't matter, but the key to me is try not to saw. Okay, you don't want to be doing this. You want to make sure you have a good sharp knife. You want to make one pretty much stroke through the meat, and if you have to, come back and make a second one without too much sawing. Okay, and the ribeye has this fat cap on it, and it's right here. And it's the chain, the fat cap. There's a lot of different names for it, but this is the fat cap. And when you get your steaks cut, if you want to leave some of that on there, you totally can. Use that for all kinds of applications, but just clean it up a little bit. You want to make sure you leave some of that fat. It will help you with flavor. That's flavor that is sitting in that meat right there.
And if you'll notice all the marbling or the fat within the steak, it keeps it so moist, and that's where you get that nice sweet flavor of beef.
All that cooks down. It renders itself out as you cook it, and it just really makes your steak so wonderful. And on the grill, it'll render down, and that's the stuff that drips through and causes that flame to come up, is some of that fat, but that is good flavor, and you definitely don't want to trim too much of that away. A lot of people will make the mistake of going ahead and cutting the steak right here and getting rid of that cap, but that's a lot of love.
Exactly.
A lot of good love left on there, Bob. You know what I mean? A lot of real good love.
So, Chef, I like the way that you're cutting your steak, because we hand cut all of the steaks at the club, and we don't cut a steak any thinner than an inch thick. We feel like, for the great tasting and the tenderness, you want to cut a steak about an inch, and you're right there about an inch and a quarter. Those are going to be great out on the grill today.
I really like having a nice thick cut of meat. And when you got good beef to work with, I mean, the thicker the better. You know, big dude,
Exactly.
big guy. I gotta have a big cut of steak. But a ribeye is just one of those that I need to have be a nice piece for me. When I'll order a ribeye more than I will anything, just because of that flavor that's built in. So it's a good cut of meat, you guys. Okay, you guys, we're gonna take a quick break. Bob and I have to do a couple of things here. We're gonna get ready to make a real nice marinade for you for our steaks. We're gonna make a nice rub to go on our steaks as well. Come on back with us. This is Cooking Today. Okay, guys, welcome back into the show. We've cut a bunch of steaks. We got some cool ribeyes going over here. Bob, and I wanted to show them the tenderloin, if that's okay. Just the trimming of it real quick. I'm going to try and do it as fast as I can.
I heard you did this less than 2 minutes, so I want to see it. But this is the king of all steaks, the most tender steak that you can have. Filet mignon. Oof.
Everybody loves a good filet. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. It's not as fatty as the ribeye is, but it has a lot of good flavor to it. And you guys, and I just want to show you, you see I'm using my hands. I put the knife down. The first thing that you want to do with this is just to clean up this side muscle here, this piece that's connected to it. You get a V going on down in there. Just cut that baby off, okay? And there's a lot of extra meat right there that you want to use up, and we'll clean that up. We'll save that for later because that'll become, you know, something good. But once you get the tenderloin, once that part comes off, we're going to take this skin off here, the silver skin. And you can lift and cut. I like to treat it, you know, like I showed you guys on the pork tenderloin a few shows ago, just how I'll use my knife like a razor, like I'm shaving my face. And once you get it cleaned up right there, you can take it and pull it, and it'll come off really, really easily. Then we'll get right down in that V with that other side muscle and just get all of that off of there. That's going to be trash. We'll clean up the rest of this right here, just like that. Just make a little V right down in here. Get that part out. And that's all just stuff you don't really want to eat. Okay? And that's clean. We'll turn it over. There's a little bit of fat on the bottom, so you guys just have to deal with that. And you take as much off as you want, okay? But I'll just clean up the tops. Just get the very top part of that fat off, okay? Make our steaks as lean as we can get them, just like that. And she is clean and ready to go. Any little extra stuff you want to get off of there is totally fine. Just like that. And I'm using a paring knife. It just helps me be in a lot more control, okay? Then I can start making my steaks. And I generally will start down here at the tail because I know I'm going to lose that piece right there. Again, that's another little piece of love we'll save and use for something else. But I'll start right here. Start making me good 5-ounce fillets right there, just like that. If you want a nice 8-ounce fillet, the closer you get to the center cut, you can cut out a little bit bigger steak and make you an 8-ounce fillet just like that. Look at that bad boy. It's beautiful, huh? Let me wash my hands, Bob.
You know, that steak, especially on the filet, you can cut that a good inch and a quarter very easily. And that way it'll do that nice medium rare cut.
Oh yeah, perfect. I mean, that's a good cut of steak. And the ladies generally like a little bit smaller one, a 5-ouncer. Work in the restaurant, I've always had a couple of different sizes. You usually have an 8 or a 5 or a 6 for the ladies. And guys, we're gonna make a quick dry rub for our steaks, okay? And usually a steak is salt and pepper kind of thing for me. Salt, pepper, maybe some granulated garlic. A lot of times I like to get a little fancy with it and have a good rub on there. So I'm gonna start with just about a quarter of a cup of granulated garlic. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little bit spicy. We're gonna add about, just an 1/8 of a cup of cayenne, about a quarter cup of chili powder. You can use dark chili powder, light, it doesn't really matter, it's totally up to you. We got some Spanish paprika. we're going to add right to it. And I'm going to use some dry cumin, about 1/4 cup. Give it a little bit of flavor. Then we'll add some salt. Plenty of salt here. You need it on meat. Always got to season your meat with salt, good kosher salt. Black pepper. And then we're going to mix that up real good. I'll use my hand and just get in there.
Now see, you've just taught me a new rub. I've never thought about blending those together.
Smell that.
Ooh,
smell that.
That's going to be good.
It's going to be good. So what I'll do, I'm going to take one of these good ribeyes that I cut, along with one of the tenderloins, and I'm going to season this up. You can add a little oil to the top if you want to before you put your rub on. It'll help you just adhere the rub to the steak.
Now, Chef, when I'm getting ready to do my steaks, I always try to let them come out of the fridge and get a little bit room temperature so it holds all that flavor.
Absolutely. Now, room temperature will help. It'll help the cook time, too.
Okay.
It certainly does help the cook time. Okay, and I wanted to show you guys one last thing. Before we go to break here, I'm going to show you one last little thing. It's a cool little trick that I do quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to take that same dry rub that I had and add 3 more ingredients to it. A tablespoon of Sambal, one of those Asian flavors. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Worcestershire to it, just a few splashes. I'm going to add about half a beer. Okay, and now I have a good wet rub. If I want to make any of my steaks wet with that same rub, that same flavor, just a few more ingredients, and it's going to turn out great. And we'll get a couple of those on as soon as we come back. This is Cooking Today. Coming up next, we'll grill some steaks and do some real nice caramelized onions. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Bob and I have gone outside. We've gotten our steaks all grilled off. Man, they look beautiful, and it's important to let them rest. And Bob will explain to you, but I really want to let my steaks rest as long as I can. And I'm going to get some onions prepped. You see I got the stove smoking right here. I'm going to get an onion prepped so we can have some nice grilled onions on top of that, Bob.
That's perfect. But
So,
out on the grill, you know, we always cook, you know, the steak. I always like to get my temperature high and get that nice sear on it. And you did some great, you know, marks on the steaks and everything like that. This perfect presentation.
Yeah, the restaurant background just yields that for me. It's
Exactly.
just what it is. So,
But it's
Looks cool.
it's beautiful. And then, you know, I always like to have my steak. I bring it in and I just let it set for about 10 minutes or so, and you let it rest, and it keeps that juices in, and keeps that tenderness and that flavor right in the steak. So.
oh yeah, cutting your steak as soon as it comes off the grill, you guys, all the juice just purges right out onto your plate. I mean, you see, these have been, I mean, they came right off the grill, and nothing has leaked out of them yet, and they're pretty rare. You see it, start to see it right there, but they are pretty rare, and so you just want to let it rest. That's real important, and it'll cook a little bit more for you too while it's sitting there. So I like to do some nice caramelized onions with my steak. And Bob mentioned having some good mushrooms. That's another good way to go. And you can do both all at the same time. But what I'm going to do is add this sliced onion right to this hot pan. Okay? And really, I don't want to take a whole lot of time with it. I do want to add a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of salt. Okay, we want to add some black pepper to it too. But the onions just give off such a good aroma, such a good flavor. And once we get them good and browned, they're ready to go on top of our steaks. And so let me just grab a rubber spatula here. Actually, you know what? That wooden spoon works perfectly. So you can break them up a little bit and get a good color going on them. it's super hot. I mean, you gotta have this baby super hot so it gets that color going on. I love smoking up a room with good onions. I mean, this flavor carries throughout the whole place.
I think we need to have a steak for onions and a steak for like mushrooms and a steak for blue cheese. We try out all three of them.
That's so good. And blue cheese is a great topping for a steak. Man, and there's so many different ways you can do it. You can do it with crab meat. Man, yes. I've used even the little 26-30 shrimp, the small count shrimp, and done those as a topping for my steak. So many. I mean, surf and turf.
Just have fun with it.
Have fun with it. Enjoy it. But with the onions, once you see the bottom start to get good and brown like that, that's really when you want to just toss them around. And we want to just move them around. And the trick here, and I'll do this all the time, the trick with this, you guys, you want to throw that ingredient that's in the pan out away from you, and then it'll come right back. I mean, the pan is rounded, so as you throw it out, it'll come right back to you. But we like nice brown caramelized onions on our steaks.
And there's a reason why you weren't letting me do that.
You want to try?
No, thank you.
I'll bet you can do it, Bob. Okay, we're going to bring our steaks over to the board here. I think our onions are about done.
Perfect.
They look really, really good. And if you want them, if you like them a little bit browner than this, it's okay. And that looks great. Come right here. Sell them right to the top of our steak, just like that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. You cannot go wrong with that. You cannot go wrong with that. And I'm going to say that one more time. You cannot go wrong with a beautiful steak like that. And the thing that I like about the grill is just, again, the beautiful marks you get to put on it, that char you get on it. And we could have done it here in the kitchen with the stove top and the oven, but it's just not really the same.
It's not the experience, being outdoors, being out in your backyard with that grill, cooking some steaks, cooking some burgers.
Yeah, and man, your family, friends, it's all about, you know, the time that you're going to spend together with your family and your people. You know, the grill is a place for people to congregate. It's somewhere that conversation goes on. And during, you know, the outdoor holidays that we have, like we have coming up, the good grilling holidays, man, the grill is just that place to gather and talk about events, talk about the beautiful fireworks that are going off, just all the things that are going on.
And eat some great food.
Some good steaks.
Yes.
Provided by Sam's Club. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Bob, we appreciate you being here so much. We're glad to have you. Will you come back again?
Definitely, and you get to keep that grill out there, too.
You're the man.
Okay.
I love this guy. We are cooking today. Come back with us. See you later. I'm really proud of the nice grill that Sam's Club gave to us. Man, it has 3 different ways of cooking. It gave us beautiful grill marks. And one of the things I love doing is making sure my steak has good presentation with those grill marks crisscrossed on it. Check out this episode and all the recipes on nwahomepage.com under the Cooking Today tab. Like us on Facebook. Just search for Cooking Today.